So today's practice is going to be a focus on the different meridian lines that are impacted by stress that comes into our day-to-day lives, okay, or extended periods of stress. And the 4 meridian lines that are most affected by stress are heart meridian line, spleen meridian line, liver, and kidneys, okay? So that means that it affects the flow of energy through those different meridian lines, and it affects the organs as well. And then, of course, we'll experience perhaps emotional or energetic symptoms. So today's practice is going to be short but sweet, and it's going to really focus on getting into the places in the body that those meridian lines run. So let me just talk a little bit about those before we begin. So we are going to be choosing shapes today that open up through the inside line of the leg, and meridian lines that run down the inside of the leg are spleen and liver and kidney. So we actually impact 3 of the meridian lines or organs at once by working with this inside line of the leg. Then we're going to be working with heart meridian line on heart organ, which is working its way around where the heart sits and then running down the inside of the arm. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on affecting that area as well. And then, of course, the yin meridian lines that run in the leg, they also run up and continue through the front side of the body and the chest and heart. So anytime we're opening up this area here, as well as the inside of the leg because we don't have to do the 2 together, we're going to be creating a sense of harmony in our internal environment, okay? So we're going to start with one of my favorite shapes, which is supported thoracic back bend. So we're going to have our cushion and we're going to take it just behind us. And what I like to do, and this is optional, is make it be a little bit higher. So you can take your block and put it on the second height. You can take your second block and place that one on the first height. So it looks like a T when you look behind you, okay, a T shape. And then rest the cushion on top of the blocks. Okay, so you've got this elevated cushion. And if that's too much for you, then you can just put the bolster behind you without the blocks. And then what we're going to do is take our bottoms or our lower back and have a gap of about 1 or 2 inches between our lower back and the cushion itself. And then we're going to just slowly begin to lie ourselves down over the cushion and let our head be supported by the top of the cushion. Okay, and then this is where you'll decide if you keep those blocks in place or not. And then those of you who feel like you can manage this, and you might want extra cushions or pillows for this, those of you who feel like you can manage this, you're going to bend your knees and have the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop down towards the ground. In which case, if you need support, you'll place your cushions underneath the thighs here. If it doesn't feel good in the legs, just straighten the legs out. And then let's take our arms out a little bit wider than the body here. Palms facing up. So we've got this feeling of sensation through the front of the shoulder and the inside line of the arm. And just closing the eyes. Taking time to make any little adjustments that you need to in your physical shape that allow you then to come to both physical and mental stillness. Stillness in the body, stillness in the mind. Closing your eyes once you're ready and just softening that space in between the eyebrows. Around the outside edges of the eyes. Relaxing the tongue away from the roof of the mouth and letting there just be a little gap between the upper and lower lip and jaw. Between the teeth. Softening around the jaw and around the neck. And relaxing in such a way that allows the shoulders to just naturally draw down either side of the cushion. And if it feels okay, just walk the arms a little bit further away from center again so that you feel even more sensation through the inside of the arm. And as you take a breath in through the nose or the mouth, just notice that gentle rising and falling of the heart space. The tissues around the ribs, around the chest. Every breath in, things lifting up towards the sky, ribs lifting upward and outward. Belly softens and relaxes, and every breath out, just gently allowing everything to come back towards center as the breath works its way out through the nose or mouth. And letting the belly area relax, letting the tissues around the inside line of the legs relax. Just noticing how you feel in terms of the shape itself, but how you feel in your mind. If it's easy for you to be here and be present, or if once you come to stillness, it's when the mind starts to get busy, starts to fill up with things that you could or should be doing instead of stillness. And if the mind is busy, just take a moment as you inhale to say to yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. And as you exhale, just saying to yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. And let that be a mantra as you practice today, breathing in and breathing out. Anytime the mind wanders away, just notice where it goes to and then invite it back to the mantra. Simple, single focus for your mind, an opportunity to find stillness. Notice as the first few minutes here have already passed by how the body's feeling, where the space is arriving into the tissues, how the mind responds to being here. Notice where the areas of resistance are, physically and mentally. And for the final moments, see if you can take the arms just a little bit wider away once again from center. If it feels like it's too much, bring them in closer to the body. Still following that mantra, breath awareness as a focus. Think of each of the shapes that we come to today as a mini meditation, an opportunity for you to pause in stillness, to recharge your energy, find a little more harmony internally and externally. This is a shape you can practice at any time that you need it, one that stimulates all of the meridian lines that are affected by stress. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And when the third breath is complete, just slowly begin to walk the arms in just a little closer to your body. Bring the hands underneath the thighs if your legs are bent. Just gently guide the knees towards each other, feet arriving to the floor. Placing the hands to the ground, drawing the chin to the chest as you slowly lift yourself up away from the cushion. And as you do, just wrap your arms around the shins. Chin towards the chest, and just close your eyes for a moment here. Notice how it feels through the back of the spine. You might notice a little warmth in the lower back. You might notice a little spaciousness and release. Fingers are relaxed, just a light grip. And as you pause here in stillness, guide your breath now to the back of the lungs, breathing into the space around the back of the lungs, back of the ribs expanding in the same way as the heart space just before. And remind yourself that when you take in that nice full indulgent breath, you're creating this flow of energy into the lungs from the outside world that boosts the supply of energy and chi through to the rest of the system. And quality of the breath dictating the health of all of the other organs. Let's take one more big relaxing breath here. And then slowly begin to lift yourself away from the torso and legs, releasing the hands, and just take a moment to open the eyes once you're up. Okay, and just turn yourself around, release your cushion, and bring the blocks near to the top of your mat now. And let's go ahead and roll ourselves onto our stomachs. Coming into Sphinx pose. So we're going to have the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders here. Chest is going to reach forward, and there's this feeling of space around the front body here. Some of you might stay here without the need of any props. Some of you might rest a bolster underneath your ribs to lift you. Some of you might stack your blocks one on top of the other, or just one if that's better for you underneath your head. Or sometimes you might feel like you want to be a little higher than this, in which case you could rest your blocks under your forearms here instead. Choosing the position that feels best for your body. And relaxing the tongue away from the roof of the mouth, just gently closing the eyes once you've found your shape. Legs are relaxed wherever they need to be to allow your back to relax. Letting there be a softness around the space in between the eyebrows. Letting there be a sense of ease around the outside edges of the eyes. Softness around the front of the chest, a sense of ease around the neck and the shoulders, fingers relaxed. And just notice where in the first moments of the shape you're feeling it. Notice how it feels to be here. Notice how the breath slows down and relaxes when the mind slows down. The two things working together, and the spaciousness that starts to arrive into the physical tissues when the mind relaxes and the breath relaxes. And some of you might like to increase the size of the bend, so if you want to take the shape into seal pose, feel free to come to your hands with your arms straightening. Hands closer to your body gives you a little less intensity on the back, and hands towards your body increases the intensity, and hands further away from the body lightens that a little. If you've chosen to come into seal and it feels like it's too much for you, come back down to your forearms, no judgment, yours or anyone else's. And notice how this feels. The ability to breathe into the heart space, to breathe into the lungs. Fingers and toes relaxed. Three more breaths. And when the third breath is complete, if your arms are straight, bend your elbows, lower your chest back down to the ground. Make a pillow with your arms. Head can rest onto the hands, or if you prefer, rest the side of your face to the mat and just bring the arms alongside the body. Some of you might like to come into cat and cow pose. If you need a little bit of movement for the spine, go ahead and do that, no problem. Pausing in stillness and just noticing any sensations or areas of the body that are asking for attention. And these moments to pause in between the shapes, just allowing you to remind yourself of the importance of pausing in between all of the activities that we fill our days with. Making us more able to respond to those stressful moments in life from a more patient, calm and considered place. 3 more breaths. When When the third breath is complete, just slowly place the hands next to your chest so that you can push the ground away from you with them. Eventually coming up to an upright position, and just move the legs to the side so the bottom comes to the floor here. Okay. All right, so we're going to make our way into our third shape. So just make sure that you can reach all of your props. Third shape is butterfly pose. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. And it's similar to when we were lying back, but this time we'll use gravity to go forward. So the knees are drawing outward. I'm going to sit tall to begin with. And on my exhale, I'm just going to really lazily begin to curl my way forward. So permission to round the spine and slouch into this here. And then fill the gaps between the head and the floor with your props. So sometimes it will be helpful for me to just stack a block on top of another, and that fills the gap nicely. Today that's a little too strong, so you can also take the blocks either side of the feet on the second or third height here. Cushion can then rest on top, and then you can lean forward and rest your head onto your arms or the cushion itself here. Some of you might be a little higher up, in which case cushion on the small end and the head resting on the other part. And just closing your eyes once you've found your version of the shape. And know that the reason that we're in this shape is to stimulate all of those meridian lines that run down the inside line of the leg, the liver, the kidney, the spleen. Finding a sense of energetic balance and physical balance inside of us. And when we're in good health, and these energy pathways can circulate in the way that they're designed to, going to be able to manage stress from a much more centered and grounded place. Recognizing the value of pausing and slowing down, finding balance in our world, both on and off the mat. So notice in this shape where you're feeling it. Some of you it will be entirely through the inner thigh, some of you it will be through the lower back, rounding of the spine. Some of you might feel it through the back of the neck or the shoulder area or the space in between. As and when you feel like there's a little release in the tissues of the legs and lower back, feel free to make adjustments to go a little deeper into the shape. It might be turning the cushions or blocks to a different height, or just moving things a little further from center. Final minute in this shape here. And just notice how you feel in the mind and the body. Reminding ourselves of the value of tuning inward, taking information from the body, from our behaviors, our thoughts, our habits, to notice where we need to spend a bit more time and attention. And the practice of yin is one of always increasing our ability to become more self-aware. 3 more breaths here. And when the third breath for you is complete, just ever so slowly begin to roll yourself up away from your props. Take a moment to guide the hands to the outside of the legs and the knees, and just slowly, slowly guide the knees together here. Release your cushion to the mat and just take a moment to move the blocks off the mat here. Turn to face the top of the mat, and we're going to guide the cushion to rest behind our knees. making our way into our final resting pose here, Shavasana. So lying yourself down onto your back. Some of you will like the cushion behind your knees, and some of you will prefer to just relax entirely to the ground here. Arms come out to a place that feels comfortable for your upper back. Closing your eyes once you feel ready and just arriving into this place of stillness. This place of calmness and surrender. And allowing yourself to simply just be. Starting to bring just the smallest movements into the fingers and toes. Reaching the arms up overhead as you invite a full body stretch. And drawing the knees in towards your chest, giving them a hug as you roll a little from side to side or back and forth. And eventually coming to roll over and rest for a moment on the left side of your body. And keeping the eyes closed, using your hands to slowly push the ground away. To lift yourself up to a comfortable seat. And just taking a moment to pause, to tune in, notice how you're feeling. Notice the effects of just these small, simple shapes, these moments of stillness to help you find balance, to find center. And let's slowly start to bring our hands together at heart center. And just bowing our head to our hands in gratitude for the practice, in gratitude for our health. Namaste.